Hello my crafty friends, and thanks for stopping by. It's Terry from Veegstez Creates. If you're new to my channel, welcome, and if you're a regular to my channel, hello again and thanks for popping by again. So today I'm going to show you how I made this very pretty and elegant sewing themed card, and this would be sort of obviously perfect for a thank you card. There are so many sentiments. So this is made using the special edition die set, cardstock and paper. Well, it's like a thick paper or a thin cardstock special set for this month for November. So we've got this beautiful stamp set which is all like sewn with love, stitched with love, lots of love, let's celebrate. So it's not just sewing themed. So happy for you, lots of versatile sentiments. We've got a beautiful stencil here which has just got these like elegant different like lacy panels where you could just sort of, if you wanted to just use say this panel or that panel, you could mask off the others and then just sort of do put some embellishment mousse or expanding mousse or glacier paste or whatever you want to, or ink blend through. And then the papers are gorgeous. They are, so I will call them papers. I'm not sure if they actually class as cardstock because I don't know the weight, but they are substantial. They're double-sided and you get two of each. So as you can see, I've been using them, but they're just such a beautiful palette to work with. Really vibrant and lovely for sort of springtime cards and summery cards, or for people that love sewing and things like this. So in terms of the dies, you get dies to make a 3D element, but my brief was so you'll basically see lots of inspiration using this special kit, but my brief was to focus on the 2D elements. So I have used this die, which is gorgeous. It's a 5-inch long piece of sort of lace edger die, and it's got cutting lines all of the way around the top and the two sides, but not on here. So it allows you to cut a beautiful patterned border on the edge of a card, or the top or the bottom. And so in this card I have used this very cute little button to create these buttons in craft cardstock. You could use regular buttons as well. I had considered that. We've got this mannequin, and that's what I've used to create this gorgeous sort of raised effect. And then we've got the gorgeous mannequin stand there, which again I've done in craft cardstock. So today's video is going to be a tutorial of how to make this card, and then at the end I'll also show you a bonus card that I made which is completely different, but I've still, even with those two cards, barely scratched the surface of what you can do with this amazing kit. I mean, there's debossing dies, there's butterflies, flowers, there's just so much. So definitely check out the videos and step-by-steps and inspiration from the other creative team members at Tonic Studios. But enough of me whittling on, let's get into the tutorial for how to make this card. Okay, so the first step in making this card is to cut yourself lots of strips of paper. So I have made use of pretty much all of the gorgeous paper stock that we've received in this kit, in this bundle. I just love it that the colours all go together. It's so like summery and spring-like, and will just be suitable for everything. So I went ahead and cut myself a load of strips. It's good to do some lengthways, as in A4, and then some shorter ones as well, and particularly if you're going to be using a larger card base. So if you're wanting to make a 5x7 card, for example, then you'll definitely be wanting to have lots of the full A4 length pieces of cardstock to ensure that they actually go corner to corner, because if you pick the shorter ones, then they won't. This panel is intended to go onto a 4¼ by 5½ inch card blank, so therefore it's okay to have shorter strips. So you can really just have fun and just be completely in the moment and absorbed with doing this technique. I absolutely love it. So as you saw a few moments ago with the completed card, I've gone in lots of different directions. That's sort of one way of stepping up this technique, really. I mean, you can just go diagonally all the way across the panel, but I just think it's so much fun to like go across a few, maybe about 4 or 5, and then I like to change direction for a few, and then I like to change direction again. So I'll give you a little example of what I mean. And I personally find the best way to do this technique is by using liquid adhesive. Purely because it gives you wiggle time, which a double-sided adhesive sheet doesn't. So you can use your double-sided adhesive, but you've just got to be very careful, because obviously if you misplace it and then try to move it afterwards, it will rip. And also it's more economical, because to cover a whole panel like this, obviously the double-sided adhesive sheets are more expensive than glue. So if you end up liking this technique like I do and doing lots of cards in this style, then it's definitely better on the pocket than using double-sided adhesive sheets. But I do think it's better because, see there, I just had to just wiggle that edge a little bit. Obviously today in this tutorial we're going to be using the beautiful paper stock provided in this gorgeous kit, but you can this technique is suitable for literally any occasion. I've made Christmas cards using it, sort of thinking of you cards. You can just use it for absolutely anything. It's so versatile. And if you're a regular to my channel, you'll probably think, oh, she's doing that again. Well, yes, I am. But you know, I think I really like this technique so much, and so I like to be able to share it with people. Right, so I'm going to change direction here, and I'm going to go down like this. So it doesn't have to be perfect. Don't worry if you think, oh, that's a little bit wonky, because honestly, once it's all down and then you've decorated it, you're not going to be able to tell. Okay, so you can see I have gone on the wonk there, so I'll just wipe that bit of glue off, put it on the back of my hand, and then put some glue on the back of the strip. You might be asking, why don't you just put the glue on the strips from the start? You can do that, but I just find is that you don't always know what the length of the strip is going to be. So by putting it on the cardstock, it's easier. But you can obviously do it like this, so sort of going along a little bit at a time. It's just that I used to do it like that. I used to put the glue on the strip, and then I would find if I would leave it to dry, I'd end up like on my messy board like this, which I use for gluing. I might have to pry it up because the glue that had gone over on the strip would have stuck to the card blank where we didn't want it to. So yeah, so this is an example of obviously changing direction. The first one's always the most difficult Obviously because, as you just saw, I went a bit wonky, but that's fine. And you can just really just let your creative juices flow. This is a lovely activity to do when you've got crafter's block. Do you get that? Let me know in the comments. Like, you want to do some crafting, or you think, oh, it's been ages, you know, or I need to make a card for someone, but I've just got no idea. I'm not in the mood. This is excellent for that, because first of all, it's like you go, oh, okay, all I'm going to do is just chop up some paper strips, or I'm going to decide on my colour palette. So then you get to go and look through all your pretty patterned papers and cardstock. So immediately you're going to get a boost, because if you're anything like me, it's like, oh, I love my beautiful cardstocks. I love my patterned paper. It's all just so gorgeous. So that's immediately going to give you a boost and make you want to get in the craft room. And then the battle is pretty much won. So you can start doing this. And you might notice I tend to tear them off as I go. You don't have to do this, but I just find when you get into parts where you need smaller bits, it's like, oh, okay, well, that bit would go there. So for example, this bit will it go? Yeah, that bit will just about go there. So we'll put that one there. And I just tend to do it like that. And I think like about 4 or 5 strips in one direction is a nice number. If you're going to do this sort of patchwork quilt effect kind of look. So I would probably now do maybe one more this side and one more that side, and then change direction again. But true Blue Peter styly, I have gone ahead and made one already. So that can get finished off at a later date and used, but let me show you what I've done. I also cut this down to 4 inches by 5 1/4 inches to leave a nice 1/4 inch gap to put it on the 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inch card blank that I want to use. So I'll move my messy mat, and then that's what it ends up looking like. So it's so pretty. I'm trying to think where I started. I would have started there, yeah, going along, did a few, 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 and so on. So I actually did a full 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inch panel and then trimmed it down. So you can do it either way, really. I think it probably is better to do it like larger and then trim it down, just in case there's any like little bits on the edge where there's any white cardstock left through. And you can just actually use a piece of paper. You don't have to use like thick cardstock or anything, because this is just a panel that's going to go onto your cardstock. So what we need to do, we need to cut a hole with our mannequin die in the position that we want it to be. So I sort of think I want it slightly above the halfway point, and then cut a hole also for the base. And because I'm only making a small card, I don't want the full length of the base showing, but that's fine, because that's just going to cut a slit in this. It's not going to interfere with this mechanism at all. So now what I would say at this point is, what you don't want at this point is to ruin any of your hard work. So you want to use some low tack tape that you are positive is not going to rip up any of your beautiful cardstock. So and personally I find that quite a challenge, finding low tack tapes that actually don't rip, but I know for a fact that this one doesn't, and I just so happen to have a couple of pieces of it. So we're going to do that, and then I'm going to run that through, and then I'm going to run that through again with this. So I'll see you back in a moment once I've done that. So I went ahead and cut out the mannequin, and then used the stand die. And I decided to cut the stand out in craft card, so it looks like wooden and it also matches the card base. I've just made a little pencil mark there so that I can just cut that off, so it doesn't interfere with positioning the mannequin. So that's pretty bang on there. Excellent. So what I've also gone ahead and done is I've pulled in some of the elements from the new Coral Skies trend, because it has this beautiful peach coloured, well, pink sands coloured ink and this beautiful peach ribbon, and it's very subtle, but there's peach, because I was either going to go for pink or peach, but I think peach looks really nice with craft. So I've cut down to between 4 1/4 and 5 1/2 inches some bubblegum pink, so you only see a thin sliver around the edge of the card panel. In fact, I might just trim off a little extra bit, and then this will go onto there, leaving a nice border. And then I've gone ahead and cut out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 of the mannequins just out of scrap white cardstock. And then we can place our die cut one from the panel on top. And how cool does that look? So you can really see the dimension. You can see it from the front, but you can really see it from the side too. So yeah, I pulled that out. I was thinking, shall I go in with the pink sands and just use it on the edges of the mannequin, but actually I quite like the look of the white from the side, so I'm going to keep it at that. But I've also stamped the sentiment, "So many thanks," which I thought was, I do love a pun, and I thought that would be nice to sit sort of across the waist area of the mannequin. And then again, I used one of the dies, this little one. There's loads of lovely little button dies and little scissors and needle and thread and pin. There's so many things in this die set. It's absolutely packed. I was toying with the idea of sticking on some actual buttons, because I do like to do that, but these look so cute and I thought it would just bring in a bit more of the craft as well. And then I think, because the colour of this new crafters ribbon from the Coral Skies trend, Moonstone Pink, really ties in well with the peach in the paper stock there, and also with the bubblegum pink. I'm not really one for adding bows and things to cards, but I just think a nice little strip down the edge there. I'm going to glue it to the reverse of that, will just add a bit of extra interest. So what I'm going to do now is I am going to start assembling this project. I'm going to speed the video up for you and put a nice little bit of music on. So settle back and watch how this card comes together and my creative process. I'm really pleased with how this turned out. I just absolutely love the dimension from the mannequin, and I think if you've never tried this technique, it's just so simple but really effective. And so for a person who doesn't usually use like ribbon and bows and things in their cards, I just think the addition of this bit of ribbon, because of the theme of the card and sewing and whatnot, that it works really well. But as you saw, I think I must have taped the ribbon too tautly to the back of the panel, so it was up like this, so I needed to use a bit of slim double-sided tape to get that to stick down. But however much I tried, it was wonky. So instead of having the buttons dotted around the card, I fixed my little boo-boo by making an arrangement there, which actually I think looks probably even better than what I was planning to do. So, and again, I was originally going to have that "So Many Thanks" across the mannequin and then just put like a foam pad or a couple of small foam pads each side to hold the sides, but it just didn't feel right, well, as you saw in the video. And I included that bit because I thought, you know, I just wanted you to know that it's okay to change your mind halfway through, or if something happens like and you need to cover something up, like sort of ideas of how to do that. So yeah, and then I felt, I mean, I love craft cards, and you know, obviously the back is just a gorgeous colour, but I don't really like the look of the inside, so I added just a panel of the patterned paper, but you can easily write over that. You could stamp a sentiment there, an inside sentiment, if you wanted to, or just write your personal message and it'll be perfectly legible. And then I've got my own little Veegstez Creates little stamp on there. So I hope you like that card. I've also got a bonus card that I made using the same kit. So it is so versatile. So this is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and this card started out also as a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inch card, but I used the edge lace die, and that's 5 inches long, so I stuck it with some low tack adhesive onto the edge so that it cut that bit, ran that through the die cutting machine, and obviously open, because you don't want it, well, unless you want it to go through both sides, which I didn't, and it left a lovely edge. And then I've made, it's quite subtle, a little drop shadow in gold, and then I picked out, I love all of these kinds of colours, so before I started this card I picked out these colours and a few more that I knew would go together. So we've got, I think that's honey gold roses, there's a, I think that might be copper mine, sienna treasure, and then I just sort of cut them down into like 2-inch strips and stuck them on top of each other. And when I'd placed that one down, there was this perfect little line of the copper mine matte mirror card, which I thought sort of finished it off nicely, because I could have gone ahead and like gone much further in with adding more and more layers of this. It looks so pretty and it's very sturdy, but I really wanted to use this gorgeous patterned paper. So this is another die in the kit, which again is very versatile. You could use this on other projects, such as boxes and things. It would look nice with, say, 2 or 3 in a row, maybe in different colours, like the 2 outer ones in the same colour and the middle one in a different colour. But I used the same, so I think it's honey gold roses, over one of the gold high gloss mirror card, and then I used the large circle to cut out the sienna treasure, and then I used the large circle with the intricate, oh, it's just so pretty. These are like little flower heads, again, which you could go ahead and paper piece if you wanted to, but I thought that might be a bit overkill because it is quite detailed. And I didn't use the inner little die circle, so that bit underneath the sentiment circle is gold, but if I had have used the outer circle, then it would have been a frame. So again, you could have sort of had the, I have raised this up on foam pads, but you could have the sentiment go back. I think it's just really nice to play around with dimension and have things at different levels. But I just use the So Happy For You stamp on some coffee cream pearlescent cardstock with this lovely Nouveau embossing glitter powder, which is called Gold Enchantment. So as you can see, these two cards are completely different. I mean, that's got nothing to do with sewing other than the sentiment. So don't, you know, when you look at this special collection, don't just view it as, oh well, I'm not into sewing, you know, it's not really my thing, because there's so many elements in there, there's so much you can do. I love this little fishtail banner die. It's perfect. I mean, that's a very small sentiment and it just cuts it out perfectly. You wouldn't get that perfect shape without with sort of just using your scissors. Like, having a die makes it perfect. And obviously this is just gorgeous. This would have looked nice on a 5-inch square card. So yeah, there's just two examples for you. So I'd love to know what you think, so just leave any comments below. There's obviously so much of this paper, or well, it's like a very thick paper or lightweight cardstock. It's gorgeous to work with. There's so much in the kit, and obviously I haven't even used the stencil, which again is gorgeous. It's got so much to it. So yeah, so I'm going to leave it there. Everything, the links will be in the description box below, and there are affiliate links as well, so if you click on them, I actually earn a small little bit of commission, so at no extra cost to you, so everyone's a winner. And I really appreciate it when people do use my affiliate links. I do a little happy dance, it's very exciting. It just helps to support me and my channel. So that's all from me today, and I'll see you again soon with some more crafty goodness. Bye for now.